Hi there, this is Colonel Barker. Welcome to another Starcraft 2 commentary. Today we're on Tiga Shipyard with a game between SuperNova as our blue Terran and Vortix as our red Zerg player. Now, this is the second commentary I've done on Starcraft 2, and the first one's gone down reasonably well. I've gotten some feedback, some good constructive feedback, which I want to take on board as much as possible. You know, the best way to move forward, I think. And the most important thing was sort of the first 2 minutes, I've been told, you know, just getting that right and excited and not to get too excited when someone comes out with a bunker or a supply depot. Here comes a supply depot. Now, this replay has come from Gosugamers, which is a fantastic website. There's a link in the descriptions box. And they've just got fantastic replays which get updated and ranked and all kinds of things, which is just great. I mean, I want to get much better as a StarCraft 2 player, and I think the best way to do that is just to make sure you watch and rewatch as much high-level StarCraft 2 play as you possibly can. So, the first 2 minutes, always the most exciting part of StarCraft. The first game I commentated was fantastic, just because there was a very quick cannon harass, which was amazing. Whereas this game, I don't think it's going to be like that. I suspect we're probably going to see some marine tank action, probably versus roaches. You know, very exciting. But that's, you know, that's nice standard stuff. It's nice and strong. But here we are, SuperNova coming out with a very quick expansion. You're going expansion first, in fact, so. And is this going to be scouted? Yes. Vortix scouts this straight away. Tries to prevent it, and in a response, Vortix comes up with his own expansion, just so he can keep up. I believe it's the case that the Zerg player always wants to be one expansion up above their Protoss or Terran players. I believe that's largely to make sure they have enough larvae to come out. SuperNova, I played a game with Superhero earlier. SuperNova came down with one of his SCVs in order to make the drone go away. There he is, hiding away. And one thing I do love about the Zerg, I know the different races, the Zerg is the way that their units can regenerate over time, which is fantastic. So if you've got your scout and he manages to get away, he can go back, mine, a couple of minutes later, he's as good as gold. So of course, before that expansion is done, he's coming out with a barracks, and here comes that first Marine, which I'm going to assume is going to come out and try and take the Zelnaga Tower, get some map control. I mean, the Zerg tend to get map control quite frequently and very quickly, so it's important, I think, as a Protoss player or a Terran player, just to try and get that map control, you know, for the small amount of time you can. Out comes the first couple of Zerglings. It's going to bring up the protection tab. And out comes that orbital command, which seems more or less standard these days, just to help get those mules done. Aw, that poor SCV. How sad. So, Vortix has got his expansion up and running. Out comes that queen. I really wouldn't be surprised if Vortix decides to take a very quick third, knowing that SuperNova has managed to come out with his expansion and successfully set it up. But I suppose the trouble with trying to get an expansion this early on is just that you don't necessarily have as many SCVs. On the other hand, in the long term, you end up much further ahead. Thanks to these mules. I do love a mule. So I imagine we're going to see either a wall-off or a partial wall-off here, perhaps with some bunkers. I mean, knowing that he's gone for this very quick expansion, which I believe is more or less standard. Oh, hot swap into reactors. We're going to see, what, double Hellions? I'm going to assume this will be double Hellions, just to help try and get it contained. And, as predicted by me, sir, or ma'ams, I assume largely sirs, out comes the hatchery. The third hatchery, you know, just keeping that one base expansion. Come along. Nothing too exciting happening here. I have no idea what he's doing as a strategy. We've just put down a double racks. But I know it's a fairly standard gameplay method to come out with a double racks very early on, then go for an expansion, but seeing the expansion followed by double racks, it's a bit new to me. And then a pair of reactors. Now this is going to be interesting. So going to go very, very marine heavy. Yep. Out, of course, comes the starport, and I imagine as soon as there's a certain number of Hellions out there, here comes the Hellions. He's going to use that factory for scouting. So the Hellions are going to be used, I imagine, primarily for the contain. Now the Queens, with their fantastic long-range upgrades, have been much, much better at preventing Hellion harass. 1 kill, 0 kills. These Hellions just scooting around trying to make their way up into the natural expansion, but I'm not sure if they're going to make it, because there are a few too many Zergers to contend with. However, those numbers are getting quite high. Very, very quickly. Leave your SCVs in that place. A bit of a build-up of Marines. And out comes the hatchery morphing into the lair, which of course would be fantastic for those sort of higher tech units. So it looks like SuperNova hasn't managed to deny that expansion. I think he was hoping to, but at least he prevented much mining going on, which will give him a chance to come up with his own expansion. And now here comes the double gas. He's already, of course, got the double gas. I should check what gas is going on. So, reasonable gas here, and double gas there, and I imagine... No, not going to see any gas there. I mean, it's not even been saturated yet. On the other hand, he is highly, highly saturated here. Oh, Baneling nest. You think we're going to see some Baneling action? That would be fantastic. And back along SuperNova comes with these Hellions just taking the map control, which we're hoping to spot if any pushes come. You know, Baneling pushes. Those Baneling busts. OP. OP. Now I imagine we're going to very, very quickly see the orbital command come out here just to help with mules. That tends to be what happens is when the Terran player decides to build a third expansion, then very quickly comes out with that orbital, and that will allow them to just build those mules and just help keep things saturated, just keep the economy going. I mean, even though Vortix does have 3 bases, if we look at the income tab, they're relatively, I was going to say they're about the same, but they're much closer than they ideally should be. I think it's just that mule action is really helping push things forward. Having said that, there's not that many mules out there. There goes the upgrade. As suggested, as he tries to come at the third, Marines come down. So I think it looks like SuperNova is going to be sticking primarily Marine Medivac. I mean, Marine Medivac, a tank can be very, very, very powerful. Here you come. Speaking of, here comes that tank. Yep. Going to be sitting very highly tank. Here comes the level 1 upgrades, combat shield. And meanwhile, Vortix is going to be sitting very, very zergly heavy. It's going to be sitting very, very zergling heavy, and he's going to be using his banelings in order to either, I assume, drop or just bust on the tanks, which is highly, highly effective. However, there are 13 Mutilisks coming into play, and that can be very, very effective, especially against anyone going particularly heavy tank play, which I'm not sure if he is. He's got 1 more tank coming out, 12 minutes in, that's not a huge number. So we've got Infestation Pit coming out, and the Hatchery, along with an Evolution Chamber. So we've got melee attacks level 1 coming out, level 2 just starting. So a very factored game, focus game to begin with. However, here comes an exciting push. Love that tank position on the high ground. Look at that, 1 tank. Well, only 2 kills, but it was enough to force him back. That was the important thing, because frankly, there isn't that much else. Now I'm going to assume that SuperNova has spotted the Mutilisks. Not the Mutilisks, yes, the Mutilisks. Oh, I'm going well today. The Mutilisks, which have already got a handful of kills. I believe I've missed out on that on that little skirmish up there, but we have got a handful of kills from the Marines, so I'm going to assume they came along and stopped. I have to keep an eye on the mini-map. Keep you guys in the loop. So, build up a force of the Supernova, I think, and out comes a fourth for Vortix. As I said, always trying to keep that one base just above your Terran or your Protoss player. Which is great, but it becomes harder to defend as your bases get further and further spread out. I love this creep spread. That's amazing. He's crept halfway along the map already. Here comes the Mutalistic attack. However, going to be met by some turrets or not. Spots the turrets, runs away. Stims up, runs up. Very small game so far. Just little macro movements here and there. Upgrades coming. Spine crawlers coming out. Carapace level 2. Attack level 2. Vehicles level 1 upgrade. Oh, and a sensor tower, which of course is fantastic for just watching those Zergs, because they can those Zerglings which can move that fast. And SuperNova coming out with his fourth now. Scouting out, spotting his third. I don't think this poor Marine has much of a chance when these Zerglings hit. This is going to be fun to watch, I'm assuming. Oh no. However, you know, map control definitely going to Vortix, but that's, you know, that's part and parcel of being a Zerg player. However, here comes a bit of a pushette. Some scans taking out those creep tumors, and meanwhile SuperNova takes his fourth finally, decides to go for the virtually central position. I love this tank placement, this is great. I'm a big fan of Marine Tank. A Marine Tank is just superb, I love the sound of it. However, here it comes. An outcome for Ultralisk, which is great. I'm going to look at the units lost tab. Staying relatively even for almost 20 minutes of the game, you know, 500 either side, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. I prefer to look at the production tab, frankly. However, the force is building up, and out come those, finally coming out those Banelings after building the Baneling so well in the game. However, this is a very strong tank line, and I don't think he's going to get through in a hurry. And those Marines, which are now sitting at 2-2, should be more than a match for those handful of pure Mutalisks. And Ultralisk with 2-2 upgrades are just so strong, but against tanks, it's enough tanks. And of course out comes that planetary fortress, which you're going to need if you're going to take that position. And it looks like Vortix is going to try a bit of a push, and to at least to possibly push into his second expansion. No, down come reinforcements. Oh, and SuperNova's managed to deal with it, which is incredible. I suppose the trouble is that the Zerg can reinforce so quickly. And with SuperNova already sitting at virtually supply cap, that makes the Terran force just a bit stronger being the supply cap. Full capped out, virtually fully upgraded Marine army is quite a powerful thing, if quite difficult to replace. Hooray! I'm going to say hooray, I shouldn't take sides, I tend to go for Marines. But poor Vortix loses his fourth. However, is coming out with a replacement fourth, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last. Out comes a handful of Marines just going through, checking the expansions, which is very wise. You can never trust a Zerg player. They'll set up expansions everywhere. However, reinforce mobilizing, setting up shop. I love this kind of game. Setting up on the high ground. Expansions are not going to last long whatsoever. Having said that, 4-2 Ultralisks. That's extremely powerful. That's going to be just no trouble whatsoever. 14 medivacs. Unfortunately, medivacs don't hit tanks particularly. Manages to push up the force off. I didn't expect that, but he did manage to take out that expansion. That's the most important thing. Let's look at the units lost tab, brother. Oh, poor SuperNova falling 5,000 points behind in that engagement, and having to rebuild his army. He's so far behind now. Well, he's 20 ahead actually in his army tab, but the minerals lost is going to be the big one. Frankly, here comes Vortix, attempting to take his fourth again, and we'll see a medivac with a bunch of marines. That's how we describe it. A medivac with a bunch of marines will easily take that out too early on. That is an engagement. Those ultras are just so powerful. They're just going to wreak havoc on the supply line. And out come the SCVs. Now a fifth expansion ready to go. Perhaps, in case he loses it. Poor SuperNova losing his central expansion. I suppose that's the danger of putting the expansion here in the center, is that it can be so quickly taken out, particularly as we move into the late game. Well, 23 minutes in, we are in the late game. The Zerglings now up to 3-3, Ultralisks 5-3, that's incredible. And the Marines, I'm assuming we're currently sitting on 3-3, yeah, 3-3 for all. And out comes that expansion. Another one. Almost mined out at the natural expansion. Completely mined out now at the main. And for Vortix, pretty much the same thing. As he moves out with his drones, I'm going to assume to his fourth base. Or is he going to be trying to take fifth again? I really wouldn't be surprised. He wants that fifth. And medivac drop. Not quite enough, but enough to take out the corruptors. Now look at this. 5 Broodlords on their way out. Incredibly strong. And as a response, SuperNova is coming out. SuperNova? Yes. SuperNova is coming out with siege tanks? No, with some Vikings to take those out. But of course those corruptors are going to prevent the Vikings to get much more. SuperNova moving up, parking just outside Vortix's fourth expansion. But those Broodlords there primarily to protect that. However, I think SuperNova is going to try and take that out. It's so low, it's down to 28 health. You can do it. I suspect he's going to make an attempt to get his large fleet, his ever-growing fleet of medivacs out there. So what else have we got going on? We have mining from this expansion. Almost mined out here. And I think at the moment we're going to have surprisingly good ever so slightly ahead, as expected, but a mass repair going down this much. This is insane. I think this is my second video. It's really absolutely insane. But with all those medivacs healing now, those Marines should be pretty much okay. But the corruptors are going to take them down in no time at all. Those corruptors just so durable. And out comes another medivac drop, which is going to be... Oh yes, dropping down this expansion. With just on 50 life, if he does that, that's one of his few remaining mining vectors out. I think he's just going to try to snipe that down it goes, yes. Forcing Vortix to pull back with the main of his army. But I think now he realizes it's gone, he's just going to push forward, find a bit of a base. Finally, out comes his Viking. Only 3 of them. It's not going to be enough. Just that massive repair going down. It's costing a huge amount, but keep this expansion running. continue to have income. That's the main thing, frankly. But I don't think he's going to make it. I think Vortix is absolutely fully committed to this. Absolutely fully committed. However, haha, backup expansion, ready and waiting to go in, which is good because the income for SuperNova is pretty much gone. On the other hand, much higher than Vortex's because he is now remote mining. Remote mining from near enough his only remaining base. Oh, this is the problem. Towards the late game, people stop watching this. On the other hand, that expansion not quite got out ahead. I think Vortix decided to move back and push in as soon as that expansion came in. But he's got another. He's got some more. So many SCVs. That's good news for him. What have we got left for the army tab? The tab, the units tab. 60 drones, 56 SCVs. Both armies are particularly important at the moment. With only around 70 supply each. On the other hand, Vortex's army only consists of 20 Zerglings and 1 Broodlord and some Corruptors. This is not fantastic, but it might be enough. It might be enough to take out that expansion. Because I don't think that Vortix is going to have enough. No, I don't think he's going to have enough to make another expansion. He's going to have to remote mine. If SuperNova is able to just do a drop and take out these drones, I think he has the possibility of just starving Vortix. And this orbital command is burning. I don't think he can repair it. Here comes the aforementioned drop. Come on, you can do it. I shouldn't take sides, but I really want to take sides because I do love my Terran players and watch it explode. Ooh. There should be other things I'm watching. And he just prevented it landing just by getting those 3/3 Zerglings coming down. This is fantastic. So rather than trying to drop an expansion in the center, the deadly center, he has decided to move his third base just over and then essentially remote mine. Whether he can defend it or not is another question. Because of course it was immediately spotted by that scout. However, 34 Zerglings which are on their way. I think it might be enough. And Vortix has his expansion almost built, and if he has that, he's got the game. You know, that's maybe the deciding factor in this case. If we have a look at the income tab, and when you get this late in the game, the sort of 32-minute line, this is what it all comes down to. You know, who has an income, and in this case, it's Vortix. He's the only one with any kind of income. So what's he doing? Coming down with these SCVs to do what? Pick up. Drop down. This is not looking good at all. Picking up his remaining SCVs, dropping them down, but of course, haha, Zergling stopping it. Oh dear. Vortix coming out for the second. Oh, this is not looking good. Not looking good at all for SuperNova. I think I might have to change my allegiance, frankly. And out comes the Medivac army. These Medivacs have been incredibly powerful. I mean, they're not looking well, but there's been enough of them just to hold off. If we can just get some mining going, drop a whole bunch of mules. Look at this. Mining finally catching up. But here come the infestors and some infested terrans, and I think that might be enough for the GG. If these infested terrans take out the SCVs, then SuperNova to go. However, he's picked up his remaining SCVs, picked up the orbital command and is going away, but he's not going to make it. I think he's too far behind. Vortex's army is building up and up and up again, and he's just being able to prevent any kind of expansions or any kind of mining going on, or indeed any kind of being able to rebuild an army whatsoever. And he just needs some kind of income, just enough to put himself back in the game. But we look at the army size. Yeah, 106 compared to 52. It's tight. I think Vortix is afraid of pushing out and potentially taking him just because it might be enough to push to take him out. But with Broodlords on the high ground, taking out these remaining SCVs, duck into Starport, which I imagine is going to be trying to help take some of that damage. But I don't think SuperNova has enough to take out. I don't think he has anything which is close enough to be able to take out. What's going on if we look at the income tab? Yep, 1700 compared to 1000. It's just, he's too far behind. And whilst he's done a fantastic job, Orbital Command sneaking down there. And Vortex comes out with his, I have no idea how many expansions we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. His 5th expansion. And denying denying SuperNova's expansion one last time. I think this is it. I don't think we'll be able to recover from this. Which is a pity because he's done so fantastically well all game. As he tries to make one last attempt to take out the drones, he gets met with freaking. Despite all the medivacs, I don't think he can do it. And SuperNova calls the GG. Well, that was a fantastic game. That was a bit more intense and longer than I was expecting, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And all hail the Terran Empire. I mean, good game, guys.